So actually, it's an asset, not
Mm-hmm.
your language. Because when a mentor coach is usually they say to me, well, it's a bit heavy asking again my clients if I understood well or but there actually you can do it quite easily because you have the excuse of the language.
Welcome back to Language Explorers. Today, I am continuing my conversation with Sylvie Filipski, a passionate polyglot, ICF accredited and a walking coach, mentor, and supervisor. In our first two episodes, we discussed the connection between languages and professional identity, with Sylvie sharing her personal journey and experiences as a polyglot. We also explored the advantages and challenges of coaching in a foreign language, emphasizing the importance of slowing down, being clear, and being vulnerable. Through her experiences, Sylvie shared how language is more than communication. It is a gateway to connection, culture, and self-discovery. We also discussed the challenges of coaching in a non-native language, from overcoming fears to embracing adaptability and confidence. In this episode, we will explore questions about coaching core competencies and the impact of coaching in a foreign language on our practices as coaches. Sylvie, I am delighted to have the opportunity to have you back today and discover more of your experiences and your opinions on this subject. So, welcome.
Well, I'm very happy to be back. Thank you.
Okay, first question. Coaching requires deep self-awareness and a commitment to ethical practice. When you're coaching in a language that is not your first, how do you ensure you maintain professional integrity and uphold ICF ethics?
Well, I think it's not very different from what you would do in your own language in the end. You have to be very careful about what you say again. So you have to master your words
Mhm.
and you have to listen anyway. So coaching in a foreign language means that you're more a listener most of the time than a speaker.
Mhm.
So maybe you pay even more attention to the way you say things. There is these issues though, to be aware of the intercultural differences
Mhm.
which have been put in the new core competencies
Mhm.
dating from 2020 now. So you have of course to pay attention to that more than in your own language, I would say. So you have not only to know the language, but the culture of the other person, definitely.
Mhm. Mhm. All right. Okay, thank you. Coaching mindset involves curiosity, openness, and continuous learning. How has coaching in different languages shaped your own learning and personal development as a coach?
Well, definitely, I have learned to be in this attitude of curiosity. When you learn a different language, you have to be humble. It
Hmm.
humbles you because you learn that you don't have the truth. We never have the truth, but you experience that really not only in terms of sentences and words you can say, but also in terms of cultural differences. You learn that people really have different way of seeing things. You learn that you will make mistakes, and that is fine. So you are like, you always have these doubts, which is very good as a coach, and this curiosity to learn more and to listen and to find the accuracy with the other person, but not thinking that you know for sure what is good and what is wrong, what is right and what is wrong. So yes, it helps because you have made the journey anyway, learning this new language.
Yes, yes, I remember you saying that in previous episodes that not mastering the language is pushing you further into, or it's making you organically go into listening more and go into to being more attentive and just everything. So this will be interesting, I think, to go into these questions of the core competencies. Maybe we'll be able to dig a little bit further into how that happens. And I don't know. Let's keep going and see where these questions bring us. How do you approach contracting and goal setting when coaching in a foreign language? Like, for example, do you find that language impacts the way agreements are formed or understood?
I would say that this is a point anyway in coaching where I pay a lot of attention, and ICF underlines that. This is for me one of the most important competencies. And I would say that doing that in a foreign language asks you to be even more attentive, that you have to make sure that the agreement is well understood between the two parties. So it's okay to repeat, to rephrase, to check with your client that you have well understood and that they are okay with what you say. That's very important. And this is where you can use your language skills, because you can say to your clients, I'm going to check whether I understand you well, or we are both in agreements. I really want to make sure, also because we are not in the same native language, that we have understood each other. So actually, it's an asset, not your
Mm-hmm.
language. Because when a mentor coach is usually they say to me, well, it's a bit heavy asking again my clients if I understood well, or but there actually you can do it quite easily because you have the excuse of the language. And actually, it is what is asked in this competency,
Yeah.
in our coaching abilities, to make
Mm.
sure that we are accurate and we understood with each other. In the core competency, speak about partnership again and again. So
Yes.
there we have to partner. And if we have not the same language, we have to partner the same
Mm.
with this fear of
Yes.
imbalance. But we are always the best coach for our client. So
Mm.
with us, as a non-native, well, maybe the person has to learn to stress a bit their ability to speak more slowly, to check with you. So everything is fine. It's a good point, I think.
Thank you. That's what can I say? Once again, I hear that the language is pushing coaches to be more compliant with the core competencies, to pay attention to them, to be aware of them. The partnership is like reinforced. And another thing I was thinking while you were speaking is that sometimes as professionals, when we get good or we continue to acquire experience, we tend to maybe not feel like we need to improve or doing well, and that deciding to coach in a foreign language could be a really great way to put yourself back into the learner's shoes again in a certain way and push you into looking at all of these core competencies and saying, where am I at with ethics, with clarifying this contract, with trust and safety, and how does that feel in this different language, and what could I be changing? I think it maybe pushes you into a perspective shift and makes you re-question them as a more experienced coach.
Exactly. Exactly.
As I was saying, trust is essential in coaching. Do you find that coaching in a non-native language requires additional effort to create psychological safety for your clients? And if so, how do you navigate that?
I would say yes. Yes, because there might be fears on both sides. For the client, fears that they are not well understood, and for the coach, that they cannot find the appropriate word or cannot understand everything. So this has to be explicit, to be said, or to be asked. Anyway, what do you need, dear client? What do you need from me to have the feeling to be heard? Or as a native or non-native, they have to feel trust, this trust. But there might be an issue with the language. It's not the language that is important, that the client feels understood, listened to, even more than understood, listened to. That definitely, you can say as non-native that you will, I bet you will be listening in any way. But yeah, you have to check that trust and connect in a different way, more deeply with the posture, with the attitude, with the care you put with your client. Words are not the most important thing. It's
Mm.
all the rest that is important. But yes, you have to be sure there is this trust, because sometimes, as we saw last time, there can be misunderstanding upon words. So if you don't have this trust, might be a challenge. A challenge.
Hmm. I really like that, how you put that, where what's really important, it's not so much, like you said, the language or the words, it's being listened to. It's creating this feeling of, oh, they hear me, they understand what I mean.
Mm.
So more than just really the language aspect. It sounds like it's a lot deeper than that.
Yes. And again, as a non-native, if you have an issue with some words, you will have to ask. So the person will have to be even more expressive and will explain maybe, and they will listen to themselves even more, because that is the point. So that you listen, so that your client listens to themselves. So
Yes. In both ways. Yes, I get it. That's so true. Hmm. Presence is about being fully engaged and responsive in the moment. And you have shared in a previous episode that coaching in a foreign language changes how you listen and act, and we've continued developing on that one today. To complete these insights you shared, how would you say that you make sure that you are fully present and listening deeply, even when the language becomes challenging for you?
just like now, I'm experiencing that with you. Well, I slow down. I breathe more. I really open all my senses.
Mm.
I not only listen with my ears, but I listen with my whole body, because maybe we have a way of listening which is not only with the ear, but with our bones and the waters we have inside, liquids,
Mhm.
which conducts the sounds. So I maybe open that even more. So I'm receptive not only to the words, but to the whole feelings, to everything that is there, even more deeply than usual, I would say. And I might also say it if I'm getting like, oh, sorry, I, well, this is something we can say right at the beginning. Sometimes I might just feel a bit lost, and I will use that with
Mm.
you so that we go back to our presence. Because one thing that is important to me is to be very present in our session. So if that is not there for any reason, maybe due to my not, being non-native, I will say that, and we
Mm.
will recenter together and take the time and breathe together and
Mm.
present again.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. So you
Let's
become,
breathe together.
sorry, sorry, sorry.
Let's breathe
Let's
together.
breathe together. That's awesome. Yes, let's breathe together.
Sorry, I interrupt.
Oh, don't apologize. That's great. Breathing is something that we take for granted and don't think about enough. And I think that every reminder to take a breath and slow down and recenter is fresh. It's precious. It is. Thank you. No apologies needed. Yeah, I really liked what you said about your being more receptive. I imagined you as a plant And when I understand that when plants, when they get sunshine, when they get certain kinds of music, I've heard that certain kinds of classical music help them to really open up to be able to absorb the sunlight better and the elements better. And so I was thinking that I made that parallel while you were speaking. I was thinking putting yourself into a different language like that, it makes you open up like a plant to absorb what there is
I
to.
like image. You see, I've got one.
Mhm. Think your
My
plant is.
friend.
Hmm. Powerful questioning is at the heart of coaching. Have you found that the way that you phrase questions or guide reflections changes when coaching in a foreign language?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Really?
Yes, I might take more time to reflect on my questions. I might be more concise
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have so many words. Or I might get, on the contrary, very, how do you say? You see, I'm missing my words, just
Yeah.
like this, trying to find the right way and giving confusion to my client so
Mm.
that we can speak about confusion together, maybe. If I'm getting confused, this might be a mirror of what the client is experiencing in their own language.
Mm.
Maybe, you know.
Mm.
But yes, I would be aware,
Yes.
aware of the way I put questions. Definitely.
Mm.
I don't have the same liberty,
Yes.
than in my
Yes.
language, so it changes anyway. But maybe it's what the client needs, certainly.
I just made another connection with how you coach in nature and how I understand that you do that while you're moving through space or a bird that flies by or whatever is happening in the environment, there are connections that can sometimes be made and that can help the client to move forward. And I understand from what you just shared is that's something that can happen maybe in the way that you're communicating. If you're the words that are coming to you and that you're using that how things are moving, the energy is moving, the dance, we were speaking about that dance,
Hmm.
how what's going on in that space. And if it is a bit difficult for you to find that right word or something's happening, you bring that into the conversation and say, okay, what's going on? What can we do with that? What can be understood from that?
Yes, exactly. Maybe the listener, if they have listened well from the beginning, they would have noticed that it is what I'm doing all the
Mm.
time. I'm doing things with what there is. Sorry. What does that mean? Yes, yes, but exactly. I'm playing just like when I'm coaching outside, even more. But even in a video conversation, it's the same. I'm picking up everything that is there because it's material for us as coach. This is a systemic approach, and I love it. And it helps us, especially when we do that in a foreign language, just feeling more at ease that everything is fine and everything is just the way it should be and can be used for the client, I mean, and
Hmm.
goal. So if it's there, maybe it has a meaning.
Hmm.
So let's use it. Maybe not, but I'm not alone.
Yes, yes, I get that. Yeah, it's as we said earlier, it's a dance. You're working together, and there's more than just what they're saying, what the coachee is bringing into the conversation too. There's a lot more to it.
Yes.
Okay. Coaching is about supporting clients in taking meaningful action. Have you ever noticed a difference in how clients process action steps when being coached in a non-native language?
I'm not sure, but I would say that maybe they tend to take more responsibility because as I said, it's not my language, so I will not take as much space as I would maybe do in my own language. I will have the tendency to give more space to my clients, and so that oh, it's difficult today. They are in
Okay.
charge.
Mhm.
You know? So for me it's a good point.
Okay, so I understand that it's more your approach, it's the way that you will be coaching, taking a step back, giving them maybe a bit more responsibility than you would in your own native language. That's the first step. And then since you gave them that responsibility, since you are re-leveling that partnership to make sure that you're at in the right place, then how can I say that? If the goal here is to help them to make action steps, have meaningful action, maybe it's even more appropriate because you're at that right place in the partnership. I'm having a hard time. Help me.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you understand what I mean?
they might feel from the beginning like they have more words, they have more capacity, that
Hmm.
you're the one who listens, and that they know more than you because they know more words than you. So
Okay.
they might feel, okay, there is this coach, but yes, I am the one in charge. She's always like that, but it's even more obvious.
Hmm.
So from what I have experienced, my clients had this tendency to just take the space and feel more in child in capacity. So
Hmm.
they
More
was
empowering,
easier.
maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the word. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the word. And that's exactly what's happened. That they have the feeling they know because you're here looking for the words and they know more than you. And so they take the space.
Yeah, giving them that. So making sure that they have that full space to go where they need to go and just maybe making that framework even more solid
They
somehow.
feel it from the
Mm.
beginning that they have something you don't have. And that they are the ones who know, so it helps. It might help. Experience that it helps.
Got it. Yeah, I understand it's also a lot about the feeling, like I saw as you're with your body was, I'm saying it out loud too, because if we're not using video with the podcast that people can't see, but there's something a lot more engaging too, like with your body, you're moving your body forward, right? I'm trying to imitate. See, can you see what I mean?
Yes, and
Yeah,
you
so
too.
yeah, because I was trying to, how can I say that? Yeah, embody this whole idea of they feel more engaged. It's more of a feeling the clients have to be in action and empowered and yeah,
Mm,
something like that.
that's it.
Hmm. Okay, I need to skip a few because I just have too many questions. Here's your last question for today. Coaching in a non-native language means navigating moments of uncertainty, not just for the client, but for you as the coach. Have you ever had a moment where language limitations actually enhanced the coaching experience, perhaps by leading to deeper listening, more intuitive questioning, or a breakthrough you might not have reached otherwise?
Yes, I don't know if I shared that last time. I had that with an Italian client. Maybe I shared that, who was really
Yes.
rushing things and very operational and in his objectives and everything he did. And he was complaining that he didn't have any time to think about the whole organization of his team because he was just helping out all the time with the operational side. And he was rushing. And even though I understand Italian very good, I was feeling uncomfortable with this pace, and I was not sure I was getting everything. So at some point, I just said, "Could you please slow down because I'm not sure I'm coming with you." And I just say, "Can we pause?" And we had deep breath and paused and slowed down. And it was a real breakthrough for him because at that point something emerged.
Mm.
And it has been the first time that I have slowed down. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should take time out for myself as a manager. You know what? I'm going to have a stroll just right after.
Ah.
And then we met again, and he said it has been a complete change because I have taken time to reflect.
Mm.
For the first time, he had that breath and changed the way he would do things with his team. He was trying to do that, but doing that in the same operational way all along. It was just when he first experienced it with me, because I had to stop him, because I was not getting with him because of the language, that things changed and he had his breakthrough.
Mm. I love that. That's a big one. That's a big one. Mm.
Yes, and
Uh,
usually yes, and I experienced something similar with an English person, the
mhm.
same things. He had to stop, he had to slow down. So there might be other insights, but this one is very obvious. Yeah.
Mm. Mhm. Okay, well, if you happen to think of any other examples like these ones, maybe not necessarily on slowing down, or maybe the other examples that you might have could be connected to slowing down too. But if you do think,
Yes, I'm just thinking of some things like daring to say, I don't understand. Remember, we are a mirror as a coach.
yes.
And if I dare say, I don't understand, I'm getting confused, or I don't know, which you find yourself in this position when it's not with your native language, you can speak about this with your client. They look at you, they see we are a mirror, a model sometimes. And so they might say, and I think it is something I got, actually, I don't dare saying in a meeting, I have not understood, I, or it's not fine for me.
Mm,
Everything you would do as a coach, as a non-native coach, might be, and it certainly is, of high importance for your client in their own language.
I get that one. Saying I don't know, saying I don't understand. I remember doing that actually when I was learning, when I was in school in France, when I first started learning French, and I was able to admit I felt okay to ask, "Oh, can you repeat that? I don't understand," because it wasn't my native language. And I remember one of the teachers saying, "I bet so many of you other students don't understand either, but you don't dare to ask." Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember learning from that, going, yeah, okay, I felt legitimate in that position. What makes me not legitimate? Why is it not okay for me to not understand in other contexts?
Mm.
That one really did help me.
And another one could be only the fact that you're doing that in your non-native language and that the client is a bit of impressed. If they do something like this, what can I do? Or maybe you can ask the question, what do you think of me coaching you as a non-native? And use that. And they say, I'm really impressed, or I could not do it myself. Maybe ask, so what is there that you would like to do and that you're preventing yourself from doing? And you inspire, maybe.
Yes, yes, I was thinking that one of that word did come to me, being inspiring, being a leader in a way, in doing an attitude, having an attitude where you're open to learning, where you're putting yourself into that slightly uncomfortable zone where you're growing and learning. So yes, in addition to what we were saying, opening up the senses, I'm also hearing that there's also this part of setting an example, yeah, of being in a position, yes, partnership, but leadership more in the development, in the growing atmosphere, if you know what I mean.
Yes, you're really putting a point with this discomfort or this vulnerability
Mm,
that we show ourselves as a coach, not in the strongest of the positions, you
mm.
know, and this might help also the client opening up with their own vulnerability because they see us doing that.
Right. We're not obviously giving people's lessons. We're not giving them advice or anything, right? But if we do appear too perfect as coaches,
Exactly.
then we might get put up onto that pedestal,
Mhm.
pedestal, where we're seen as the expert and put into this position where that's maybe not the best place where we should be as coaches. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense that they can see this demonstration of how we do this. Okay, yeah, it's not going to be easy to move forward to where it is that I want to go. How do I get there? Ooh, now we get to put ourselves into this fun position of going, ah,
Yeah, because you at the same time you are vulnerable because you're open with all your mistakes and accents and everything, and at the same time you're very strong because you do it the
yes, right.
same.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Very last question. How would you like to end this episode for today with all of this inspiration and these beautiful ideas that we've shared already?
I would like really to smile at all the auditors and to invite them to smile to themselves if they dare to coach or to work in a different language or just try to learn a different language and really just say to yourself, everything is fine. And it's already a big thing to be doing that. And congratulations on daring and just be yourself in this experience. Again, you are the right person at this right particular moment with all your mistakes and imperfections and who you are, and just enjoy, have fun, be curious, be open, listen to, and see what is there. And there is a big treasure to be found.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks so much, Sylvia. I'm sure that will have touched a lot of listeners to hear those encouragements. That's very precious. Thank you so much for sharing, and I will see you in the next episode.
With pleasure.
Thank you for joining Sylvia and I today. In this episode, we delved deep into how coaching in a non-native language impacts our practices and reinforces the ICF core competencies. We highlighted the importance of establishing the coaching agreement and direct communication, emphasizing the need for clarity and repetition to ensure mutual understanding, particularly when navigating language differences. Sylvie shared how this can actually be an asset, providing a natural opportunity to check for alignment. We discussed how coaching in a foreign language demands heightened, active listening and presence. Sylvie shared how she slows down, breathes deeply, and engages all of her senses, listening with her whole body, not just her ears. This deepens the connection and fosters a more receptive coaching environment. We also explored the power of trust and intimacy, acknowledging the potential fears on both sides and the importance of creating a safe space where clients feel truly heard. Sylvie reminds us that coaching goes beyond words, emphasizing the importance of posture, attitude, and care. Furthermore, we examined how coaching in a non-native language can empower clients, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility, and how it can encourage the coach to be more vulnerable and therefore more authentic. This vulnerability can be a powerful tool for building rapport and modeling openness, aligning with co-creating the relationship. Finally, we reflected on how language limitations can lead to unexpected breakthroughs, deeper learning, demonstrating the power of facilitating client growth. Sylvie's stories illustrated how slowing down and embracing uncertainty can create space for transformative insights. Now, as you reflect on our conversation, consider how you might apply these insights to your own coaching practice, whether or not you are coaching in a foreign language. More specifically, how can you leverage language vulnerability and presence to deepen your connection with clients and enhance their growth? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. We are eager to learn and grow together. Next time, Sylvie and I will explore the fascinating connection between coaching in a foreign language, creativity, and perspective shifts. Hope to see you next time. Take care.